Finance Committee. It's Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, well, welcome, folks. We're going to take everybody in order here. So, Dan Menard, our DPW Director, is up to bat first.
We put the generic heading of DPW, but it's multiple budgets, as you know.
Go ahead, Dan.
All right.
The floor is yours.
Good evening. All right, I guess we'll start with the highway. All right. Most everything, well, if you want to start with the salaries, everything is the same except for contractual. And the longevity, that increase is because of, it's no longer in, it used to be built into their salaries, and now it's taken out and it's separate now. So that's where that is. Everything else, state level funding in the expenses line items, except for gasoline, we increased a few thousand. Again, that's just an estimated cost of how it's been going. That's a tough one. So, and actually, it was a decrease in the road materials from 200 to 150. So, all in all, we're down actually from $1,006,076 to $972,856 in that budget. Any questions on that one?
Jamie, I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of ties into this. That, wasn't there supposed to be like a $1.5 million transportation bond or something? Would that be tied in with Chapter 90?
No.
No?
That's for the Slocum Street
All right, so it's
project.
strictly just for that.
And we still haven't had any money released by A&F.
And how about the, that fair share tax allocation that's supposed to go to Chapter 90 and Chapter 7?
That has been added to his Chapter 90 money.
So that's already in there?
Yep, that was 70,000, I believe that, yeah.
And there was another amount earlier from the,
So that, I don't think we get the 200,000 yet?
No.
Oh, okay, that's gonna become, because we get roughly 314,000, I think is the number every year from Chapter 90 funds.
Yeah.
For the next 5 years, supposedly, we got, I don't know how much they got, the state got, so they're giving us an extra 200,000 for the next 5 years. So every year now, we'd be getting 500,000
Okay.
towards road,
Yeah.
Chapter 90 funds, yeah.
Okay.
Snow and ice, same thing, it's level funded from last year. No questions on that.
How much should we use in snow and ice?
We're actually,
we're almost close.
yeah, no, we used it up, I think we're
Yeah.
a little behind,
Yeah.
so, but let me see, I got it, the numbers here. So,
As of April 1, we used 100,959.11
well, I got salt in the meantime, so that's where that number came in.
So when it gets posted upstairs, it will be above that.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I'm 156 right currently. This is as of 3/31. So, but we're done with the snow, so that's pretty much it. So we're negative 46,000 on that.
Oh, don't curse us.
Well, that's all right.
Don't say that.
Yeah, we're done. I think the sand is off today, so we're done.
Yeah, and,
We've had April Fool's storms before.
we'll have to wait for May and then figure out how we're going to
Yeah.
transfer something in for that.
All right.
Street lighting is in his area, but not within his purview, as he tells me every year.
Correct.
And that we increased slightly, and that's the energy cost.
Mhm.
And we have no idea what, as you know, what the energy costs are going to be. And Mr. Menard and myself have been talking to the utilities to make sure they take care of our hardware when they start to take the poles
Yeah, they're on
down.
the side of the road. I know, I've seen them. Mm-hmm.
We've talked to Eversource, and they agree that they'll take care of the ones they're doing.
Yeah, they've been putting them on the ground as they've been moving along, and then they go up, and they've been doing good.
All right, well,
CMAS,
that's a
CMAS,
CMAS.
yep.
Yep. So the only increases, again, it's contractual, and that's, I mean, the tonnage is basically the same roughly as what we've been doing in the past. So, again, that pickup, I think this is last year, next year, we're gonna have to go back out to bid. So we had a 5-year contract with the trash guys and CMAS both. So next year it might be a little different, so, but this was, I believe it was a 3% increase every year, so that's just the 3% from last year
Yep.
difference.
How are we doing with contaminations?
We did actually been doing really good with that, we don't come with, so it
Yeah.
hasn't been not an
No
issue.
pizza boxes in the recycling?
No,
Well, I don't know, you get the Domino's boxes, they tell you right on the box to recycle me.
and recycling ton right now is probably 70-something a ton, but that's a tough market too. Again, it went from, they were paying us to over $100 a ton. It was more than trash at one point, and
Yeah, I
then we're back
remember.
down, and now we're, at 70. So that's kind of where we're at with that. That's another tough market to
You're not gonna put your finger on it, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying last year that a lot of the places around here don't even want to take it
Yeah,
anymore, right?
yeah, so it's, like I said, Waste Management's the one who takes our stuff and
Yeah.
they process it, and again, a lot of stuff goes overseas, so, it used to go to China, and I think it's going to like Vietnam and stuff like that, now it's different, places it's going to, and that's where it changes. I don't know if China's just not taking it, or it got too much, or whatever, but,
Is there any other company other than Waste Management that you?
well, again, that's our
Really
contract, we
few,
got a
yeah.
contract with them, we put it out to bid.
Yeah,
There's other people that take it, but again, they came in the lowest at that time, 5 years ago when we did this, so. We had to stick in what.
And it wasn't
And then it's,
even
then it's just, well, it's market prices, so they adjust by market,
Yep.
Same thing with the fuel, they'll adjust, but it starts at, July 1st, it'll start the fuel, whatever that price is there. You got a leeway, up or down so many things, and it stays the same, but if it goes up, they charge us more because it's a fuel, extra increase in
Yeah.
fuel costs. And if it goes down, they do decrease it as well, so, again, it's all in kind of market, what the market's bearing.
It wasn't even Waste Management then, it was somebody else.
It was Howland, when we first, Howland,
And then got bought out.
Yep, correct. Any questions on CMAS?
Water.
Water next,
Water's
yep.
next.
If I can get it. Again, with the highway and all that stuff too, the board, I don't know if they still gonna make more cuts later on, so I don't know if this is gonna be in stone, or not, but I figured I'd throw that out there. I think
Yeah,
Kevin said that
the-
last night, he was,
The board has not done any personnel cuts to any of these budgets you've seen, including any vacant positions.
Mhm.
But as I stated earlier, it's the board's intent to look at vacant positions first. of which there is one split between sewer and water, and then look at any filled positions.
So currently, though, it's in this budget now for that position, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's still here.
Yep, okay. And again, with the salaries, that's just the longevity thing, because it's not built into their salary anymore. The only other increase in the water was New Bedford water bills, and it's a 5%, and actually, I believe they went up 8 this year, yeah, 8.6 they had increased, but we're comfortable with the, you know, with the average and the usage, so the 5% should be enough to cover it.
Dan, do you know if New Bedford has changed the amount of fluoride they're adding to the water?
Well, that could be a possibility, because it seems like they're always changing people over there. When I
Yeah.
first started, it was all the same guys, and now it's all new people, and so, as far as the testing, it ain't been an issue with water testing, but are they putting that? It could be, you know what I mean? So I couldn't give you an answer on that one.
Okay.
I can
So I know
find that out, or I can actually call. I know I got people in the office, but I used to know people that were in the plant before, and like I said, it's changed, all hands now, you know, all new people.
Yeah, because how is it measured in what, parts per million?
Correct,
Right.
yep.
So yeah, I'd like to know that number
Okay.
of what it is.
Yep.
I'm just curious, because a lot of health issues can pop up with increased fluoride added to the water.
Some communities have banned it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, you get enough fluoride in your toothpaste. Yeah, it's basically a form of a neurotoxin is what it is. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that needs to be really looked at closely. It can, you know, it can be tough on young kids.
Yeah.
You know, getting too much fluoride. You know, it could potentially cause some bone issues. So
Again,
just be careful with that stuff.
New Bedford has to, you know, we both go through DEP for
Yeah.
the standards and everything, so they're definitely under more view from DEP than us, because we're their treatment plant, and I would, you know, you would hope that DEP's watching it, you know what I mean? Because they have to give it, I'm sure, I think that plant puts out like 9 to 11 million gallons treated a day out of that plant, so I would think they,
Keep an eye on it.
yeah, you know, but, you know what I mean, does stuff slip by the cracks, I don't know.
I'm sure they're watching.
Yeah.
But how much they really know about it,
Yeah.
that's a whole other question. you
Yeah.
know?
But anyway, I can
Yeah,
find numbers, I can
that-
check it out for
yeah, I'd
you,
like
that's
to know
no
that.
worries. But any other questions on the water? No?
You'll see in sewer and golf, we've worked in direct costs, and there'll be some changes. Here we haven't, because it's not an enterprise account, it's just a reserve. And at some point, I'm sure we can crunch the figures, but looking at what happened when we did the sewer, the difference between what was put originally in over the years by Mr. Menard and when we crunched the numbers, the difference was $4,400 for sewer. And the break is 70-30 between water and sewer for a lot of this. So looking at the potential of maybe $8,000 or $9,000 difference. Looking at the water budget, we didn't think it was a valid exercise right now, and we've got a lot of other things to do to balance things out.
Sure.
But this number,
It's
is-
fairly close, because they're up,
we have 7,500 on ours.
it's 35, the fringe benefits, health and vacation is up at 35,000. I'm less worried about that than with golf and with sewer, even though sewer's a lot less. I just wanted to try to get it accurate because it's an enterprise account.
So again, the only increase was from New Bedford, and that was the increase from New Bedford. Pretty much basic, the same, everything's level funded across the board on both water and sewer.
We have any pending or impending mandated inspections, like infiltration? What is that, every couple of years? The inspection requirements?
That was, yes, that was mandated, again, that was DEP and getting what, sewer lines inspected and
Yeah.
manholes, yeah, for water.
Do we have any of those coming?
Not this year, no, but probably the following we'll have some more coming in. We did most of all our mains and manholes. We finished it, so I think they let it go a couple of years and then we're gonna start back over again.
So it's why every 2-3 years we have to do that, right?
Yeah, well, that's because we did it in phases, so we didn't do the whole system at once. So
Right.
they did one section one year, another section the other, so we finished the whole town.
Now we're gonna
sewer
start
now,
again.
yes, so we're all good. We got whatever we found, we fixed, and there was a few manholes. It really wasn't that bad. A lot of stuff was new. The stuff in '06 is new. We have some on this part of town, it's from the '80s, but it's still plastic PVC, and, you know, it was just more of the manholes and stuff. We can get some infiltration from there, you know, so. But water loss on the water we do every year. So it's basically with listening devices, so we have a guy come in and do, you know, leak detection every year on the water.
Oh, yeah.
So that we do every year.
Good.
It's not only that, you've got the MS4 that keeps going on for the stormwater. And those reports have been issued every year. They're up to date, and we're going forward on that. And if you want to give them a thumbnail sketch about what's going to happen on Slocum Street.
With the project, yeah, we're gonna be doing that, whole new drainage and water main, water services, curbing, sidewalks, asphalt. So it's, they're starting, actually, I gotta put the sign up again, I'm gonna put it up tomorrow. They're starting actually next Monday, April 6th, is the start. They're thinking sometime in September to finish the project, so.
So it means, and it was just saying skim coat until it's.
Well, the binder, maybe binder for the winter and then top coat in the spring
Yeah.
possibly, but,
Who's doing
um,
it? DW?
no, it's not DW, it's
Bisco.
Bisco, and they're out of Fall River. It's a company out of Fall River, again, they won the bid. So I haven't worked with this company yet, so we'll see, I guess.
Any
but-
plans on addressing the bend on Main Street, where, on the culvert there, where it kinda does this, before you got that swing to the left, at the bottom of the hill,
Yeah.
go down, just
Where the
past,
driving range was the solar farm?
yeah, right before the, yeah, so you got that culvert that's there, and it, if you on the shoulder, it kinda dips pretty hard.
Oh, yeah, to where the basin is?
Yeah,
Well, that wasn't on the list, but, yeah, we can look into that. That wasn't one of the roads
yeah,
that
because
we're
it's,
looking at this year. We
yeah.
got 400
We're not
more.
talking about
but,
stop signs on,
Especially now.
Reading up social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times when you go around that bend, a lot of people will try to avoid that dip.
But, all right, can I give you guys a little hint? My road material budget's 200,000. So it used to be 200, now it's going down to 150. I had to do line painting last year. Line painting, so you gotta get it done. That's $50,000. So now I'm down to 100. Catch basins gotta get clean. They have to be clean because of the MS4. That's 25,000. So now I'm down to 75,000. It's only so much you can do.
Right.
DPW is like horses. The horses want to pull, but if you leave them tied to a tree, you ain't going with it. You ain't
Right.
doing that.
No, I get it.
So any questions on sewer?
Dan, how are we doing with, equipment, heavy equipment, all the vehicles and stuff
Well,
like
that's
that?
the other thing. It's actually, we're pretty good. I needed a sweeper. Again, we've been asking for the last 4 years. That ain't, but I'm trying to talk the select board into getting one this year, because with that extra 200 and that extra 70, that actually covers the sweeper that we didn't know we were getting that money. That's the way I look at it, because you can get that out of the chapter funnies, chapter 90 funds. So it's not, you know, going to the taxpayers and stuff, so. That's how we actually got our paver, you know, a few years back, so I'm trying to, hopefully they'll go with that, but.
That might be a tough one.
So that's basically kind of really the trucks and everything we're good with, and most of the machines except for the sweeper.
All right, good.
Any other questions?
Nobody else has any questions for Dan? All right,
All right,
Dan.
guys, have a good night.
Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dan.
it. Okay, next up is our treasurer collector, Jennifer Garrett. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Just introduce yourself and tell
The
us
first
your
time
background.
meeting with you all.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I've been here now a little over a year. My background, I was the assistant collector for a year, but worked there for 8 years. So I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
Very
Great,
good.
Great to have you.
thank you so much. So I'll start with the salaries. The only changes is the contractual and longevity. One of the clerks makes her 15 years.
And as you can see, we're reflecting in the total for the operating budget, the offset or indirect cost paid by the enterprise, so that we look at the bottom line. It was reflected in the motions to fund the operating budget, et cetera, but I think this puts it out there clearer.
Mhm.
And we've had a number of fee increases.
So all of our bill print are going up. We use Hoppers for payroll, Bill Trust for our printing for taxes, and our PKS for our motor vehicle.
Jamie, you got anything to add, or?
I'm asking for full funding for the assistant treasurer collector, even though that position is vacant now. Our intent is to fill. That's the position that handles payroll for both the town and the school.
So who's doing that now?
You're looking at it.
Between the accounting office and the treasurer collector's office, we've been operating with two people for a long time.
It's nice to have
Different offices plus people from my office.
Good to have checks and balances back, having someone in the accounting office.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And it's good to have some people that are working for the town in the financial areas that have worked in different areas in finance, so that they know what goes on in the
Yeah,
different
municipal finance.
offices. So we can every now and then say, oh, yeah, it was over here, but you're taking
That might be the way of the
insurance.
future.
You're taking, administering all the insurances this month.
Regionalized office.
No, I think that's good for somebody to have a background like that where they can, interchange between roles, so it's definitely an added value for sure.
Yeah, we were sorry to lose our assistant treasurer collector, but she is now the treasurer collector in a neighboring town. We are the
Training.
training ground
Stepping
for a
stone.
number of places.
Police department, everywhere.
Well, hopefully Jennifer sticks around for a little while.
Yes, I plan on it.
All right, good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, so overall, their budget's only up $10,000 from last year, so that's,
And most of it is the, like I said, all the services are going up.
Yeah.
Fees.
yep. Okay. Anybody have any questions for Jennifer? No? Well, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Pleasure meeting you
And
too.
thanks for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
And look forward to working with you.
Absolutely, me too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Bye, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, next up to bat is our conservation agent, Mr. Mark Minton. Hey, Mark, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you all.
Hello.
Again, I'm the new agent, Mark Minton.
Awesome.
Having a good time. I didn't know I was part of the farm system, but
Tell them your background.
so I was a federal employee with NOAA for on and off, but not on and off. For 35 years, I did a variety of different things in there. When I was with NOAA, when I retired in 2000, I was working, well, I worked out of this area for a long time, but my office was the Customs House downtown. I have some background, a lot of fishing related experience, but I also have worked on Atlantic salmon up in Maine and a lot of stream restoration. I went to grad school for wetlands restoration a long time ago and couldn't find a job in it, so of course there was always a job to get back on a boat. So, but I've been enjoying, felt like it was a real opportunity, and saw the position open, and it really kind of fit in with my interest. I still teach at a community college up in Boston part-time, but yeah, it's been a great experience. I enjoy working with people, and certainly do a lot of that, and enjoy the other staff here. And Andy, I see Andy's still here, so
You have excellent
Andy's
qualifications.
great. So I can. So this is the first time I've been in front of the committee, and so I guess I'll start off with the salaries. So I think you all know that I'm half-time or part-time,
Yeah.
19.5. And I'll say this, as I said to Jamie, it's not really a half-time position, and I'm putting in more time, because it's interesting stuff, and so but so that's a big change, I think, in the in terms of salaries in Concom. I started in July, so right after the start of the fiscal year, I believe, and I know, well, previously I know that the clerk was covering some of the duties of the agent, so I think that's changed as well. Let's see. Just one thing to note, and I'm just looking at the figures I have. There was, I don't really think it's important, but there was some, the reallocation of salary. There was a coding issue that actually Jamie brought to my attention, and so that's been resolved. I've worked with Jen, and so you can see that. I guess with, I don't know what else, what other details you want. On the salaries, there's overtime that goes to the senior clerk, and the majority of that is for the time she spends at meetings and overtime and above and beyond her normal hours. What other stuff? And I'm happy to answer any specific questions. I'm hopefully I'm covering the information you want, you're interested in. There's a little bit of travel in the budget. It's not a whole lot. I think that's going to go down potentially. The clerk, we were providing as almost a service to some applicants to register things like orders of conditions with the Registry of Deeds. In fact, the Act, the Wetlands Protection Act, clearly states that it's up to the applicant to take care of that. So I don't know the expenditure there. It's pretty minimum, but that's one thing. So we're letting people know now that that's their responsibility. Training, I'm jumping around, my apologies. There was $1,200 in that, and we've used, I've used a little bit of that, probably the majority of what's been expended, and also a SERPIT annual meeting. And most of that was training with Mass Association of Conservation Commissions, which provide wetland, basic wetland act type trainings. They're really good. So I've done a couple of those. My background again is had a lot of experience with regulatory. I did a lot of rulemaking and regulatory stuff. And while the specifics are different, it's the processes. Figure out the process, but. So those trainings have been really helpful.
Does the training cover any of the board members? Because I know when we get new members on the board, they tell them to go and go to these training events. Is that part of this?
They a number of them. The commission went this year. There was a training this month actually, or sorry, in March.
Yep.
And I think we have 2 new members, but I think basically everybody went. It was their annual conference. It was up in Worcester. Holy Cross. So I think they all went. That money didn't come out of, I don't think it's reflected here. It came out of Wetland Protection Act funds. It was my understanding. So it was a separate, I'm not.
This is for staff training.
Okay, so it's not the actual commission.
Well, we used it from the Wetlands Fund, which is an appropriate use. I think all of the commission went, didn't they? Or all but one?
All but there, yeah. Everybody went. I think there was. I'm sorry. I think someone canceled at the last minute. They couldn't go. So and we got the money back. So I think that was they refunded whatever that was. But I think there might have been 2 that didn't make it. But everybody else went. And I don't know if you have specific questions, my apologies.
No, Mark, I know you're doing a great job. Overall, we're not gonna complain when somebody comes in and their
lower budget.
overall budget is less than what it was last year. So,
Yes.
we can't ask for anything else other than that. The only other question I had is how are we doing with, like MS4 permitting and compliance and all that stuff?
So the agent is myself, is stormwater. I just, it's one of the National Estuary programs. I'm getting ready to set up a meeting with them. My apologies, I just sent the email a little while ago.
That's fine, just curious.
So the MS4 permit, we're up to date on.
Everything's up to date, okay.
Yeah, so there's some support out there going forward.
As you know, we've got a stabilization fund. We put money in every year to make sure that we have all the engineering support we need to do all our MS4 permit.
Well, that all had to be in line anyway for the master plan, right?
Yeah, but it's every year we have to do so much to stay current with they call it a permit, but it's really a mandate.
Right.
So,
Okay.
all right. It's
Mark,
nice to meet everybody.
pleasure meeting you.
very much.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up to bat is our building inspector, Mr. Andy Boblo.
Good
Take
evening.
Take your time,
Excuse
Andy.
me. Yeah, unfortunately, that's all I can do.
I think you know, Andy.
I think so, but just in case, my name is Andy Bobola, and here on behalf of the Inspectional Services Department, plumbing, gas, electrical, HVAC, zoning, all of that. With the exception of contractual increases, you're gonna fund for the second year a level funded budget with one slight change. We have a deputy building commissioner. His name is Jeff Fabian. And what's happening, behind the scenes that you don't see from the public is trying to mentor him so that when I do retire, that Jeff can kind of hopefully take the reins. He's a great candidate, really easy to talk to, easy to deal with. And there's a minimal amount of money for him for inspections, and we're keeping the training budget the same. Due to the fact that I've been doing my job for 41 years, I've reached a lifetime membership at our monthly meetings, and that saves the town over $2,000 a year in training.
Excellent.
So that's, it's a big plus for the town, where there's not a monthly fee. I have not put in for $1 worth of gas. I use my own truck. I go to meetings. I was in Framingham yesterday. The town doesn't see any in-state travel for that. I tend to do that on my own. So we're trying hard to keep a top-tier department and to keep the expenses in line, which I think we've done.
Oh, absolutely. You have to be taking that on the cuff on your own.
Yeah, that's kind of commendable.
Thank you, but it just kind of, I do better in a four-wheel drive truck because some of these sites are not easy to get in and out of.
I'm sure.
Especially after lots of rain, and we're getting more rain all week, so it's going to be, a challenge sometimes getting in and out of these places.
How much do you think you travel per week? Like
Per week?
mileage?
Minimal. 50 miles in a week, if
Okay.
that. Probably less. The in-state travel is monthly to go to Taunton. And once a month, it's either Framingham, Charlton, or downtown Boston.
Okay.
So, and again, those, they're not expenses that the town sees. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Mr. Kelly or the committee, anyone?
I don't know.
Mr. Kelly, would it be appropriate to mention the potential for fee increases?
Yeah, he's along with a couple other departments. Well, you tell him what,
Okay.
how you're looking at.
Sure. Last year at this time when I met with you, I had mentioned that we were extremely low on fees. So Laurie and myself did a survey of 8 communities of like size and population. And a comment was made last year that we include the median income when it comes time for fees. So in that 8 communities, at the bottom of the proposal is the median income for each community. So we can see what the fees are, what we've proposed, and what the average of the other communities are.
So how does that progress? Does that have to go to vote at town meeting?
No,
or
it's
charter?
it's there is information. This department is providing information to the selectmen. They're waiting for some other departments, and we're looking probably to do the whole thing all at once.
So it just takes a vote from the select board?
Advertisement and vote.
I think that's I think that's something that should be looked at every year. To be honest with you, is you know, what are we charging for fees? Because it costs us so much money to run this town. And you factor in inflation with that, and how can we just keep the fees stagnant? And when we need, you know, some new growth, you know, I mean, because that goes towards that, correct? So I think it's something that should be reevaluated every year.
How's
Well,
the
it goes
permits going?
to the local receipt.
I'm sorry.
I'm just curious, how, the permits, how, have you seen the increase in new building permits, or how are we
So,
looking?
yeah, so the interesting part was I asked Lori today, I said I wanted to compare the first 3 months of '24 with what we've done this winter. And we didn't have a winter. And when I got the numbers, we saw that everything had doubled and then some. So we usually have about a 4 or 5 week period of time in dead of winter, February, early March. We didn't have it. People just were out and about, lots of things happening in town, lots of inquiries. And one of the things that people are really looking at is the new accessory dwelling unit bylaw that the governor implemented that came into full effect on February 4th. So there are a lot of people looking to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's pros and cons of that. There's definitely some folks that are not happy about it. And there are other folks that said, you know what, we can't go out and spend 175, 200,000 for a lot and then put a house on it. We find a lot of demographics here. Families that, you know, have a sibling that is going through a divorce that needs a place to stay, they can't afford the rents. There's a lot of moving parts for this bylaw. Not all of them favorable, but most of them I think are.
It's not a bad idea. I was gonna say something funny. Having an accessory dwelling in case you're in the doghouse area.
Yeah. I think there's many of us that could agree with that.
Can you rent it out to me?
All right,
Is there anything else I can do for you folks tonight?
I think that's it.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you very
Thank
much for your time.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you again, Andy.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman, just to keep going in this vein, I'd ask that we take up the weights and measures, which I know is a tiny budget, but I just have an explanation of what's going on.
Okay.
In the past, there's been, it's a very small budget, as you can see, but in the past, there's been a sealer of weights and measures. Every community must have one. We've been lucky in that we've been using a gentleman who also worked for New Bedford. Now he's retired from New Bedford. He's still working for us. But as far as the membership in the association and some supplies, we had to add that to the budget. So it's $1,050, but I just, it's the type of thing that you've carried it for years without any expenses. And now I'm adding expenses, and I've found in my experience through the years that it's not the $500 million account that someone may ask the question on. It's how many batteries am I buying or something
Yeah,
like
it's very
that.
minimal.
That does come up though.
Yeah.
You can almost guarantee it.
So I wanted to get in front of it.
Yeah.
What's the requirement to be a sealer or a waiter or weights and measures? Is that-
I know you have to go through training, and you have to be a membership, or have to have a certification.
Right.
The Board of Selectmen meeting was mentioning some night with PJ Keating. Is that?
That's different.
That's totally different, okay.
That's
They have their own, right?
the people who are tasked at certifying the weights on their scales
Yep.
for each load. So they have multiple people that do that.
But we're not funding it, that's all PEO's
No.
doing that, yeah, okay.
Now, this is, for example, the gas station has to have the pumps certified
got
that
the
they're
little seals
accurate.
Yep.
There's a scale in a delicatessen or a market has to have a seal to show that it's accurate.
Yep.
In the old days, dairies would all be, there'd be tests as far as the bottles of milk.
Be a nice part-time job.
There you go. Work drives me nuts. You wanna get out of the house, is that what this is?
I thought you were back, I thought you
I'll
were
buy,
back to work.
I'll get
Did
one
you
of
already
those
go back to
accessory
work?
properties, I'll get a little mini house.
There you go.
So it's in the vein of building inspector. We have seal of weights and measures. So, next one is accounting. We've hired a assistant accountant. It's a woman named Jamie Velasquez. To be transparent, I have known her and worked with her for a number of years when I worked in Stoughton. I've known her since. She was, when I was in Stoughton, she was the budget administrator and licensing administrator for the, and then she went on to be the business manager for DPW sewer and water. And Stoughton is a seriously larger budget than we have.
Mhm.
She has 20 years experience, and she's already hit the ground running. We are finding a number of accounts, subsidiary accounts. For example, it might be that a overtime account was charged when it should have been a salary account, or a longevity account was charged when it should have been an overtime account. She's just taking them all apart. I have 100% confidence in her, and I'm very happy she's here. She also lives in the area, one town over, and like me, when I was coming from Millbury to here, you relish the commute when you can cut it so substantially and don't have to drive Route 24 in the traffic. In the accounting budget, we have progressed upwards in various advertisements up to, the last one was $95,000, and we do not seem to get a lot of people applying that have the credentials that we need.
Mhm.
The board has not approved this budget yet, but as you can see, I have taken by moving some money out of the enterprise account to try to bring it up to market. As I said, the board hasn't approved this budget yet. There'll be discussion on it with the board, but it's it's my recommendation, if they're going to go with a full-time accountant, that you're going to have to get up in this salary range. Because we had one person come in at 95 and left a week and a half later.
Oh,
So, Jamie, I don't mean to interrupt you, but, so this lady, what's her name again?
Jamie Velasquez,
So is she coming on permanently?
yes,
Oh,
as the assistant accountant.
okay.
okay, so it's like that.
All right, so we're still in search of
An
a
accountant.
full-time town accountant.
As you know, I am a short timer,
Mhm.
and the number of people I see getting hired as town administrator in other places have small, if not negligible, experience in finance. They seem to be coming out of economic development, procurement, human resources, a number of those fields, whereas they do not have an actual background in treasurer collector and accounting, or even either one individually. And so it's going to be my recommendation to the board that this is such an important position that, and looking at everything that's coming in, you're going to need very strong financial people to help
Offset.
the transition someone new in. I was lucky in that I had been an interim finance director and in a couple of communities, and so had that background when I got here. It's a skill set that is, you can see the number of vacancies around for town accountant or finance director. And as Kristen will tell you, you can also see the number of vacancies of school business manager, especially around this area. And that is going to be something else, because you are also going to have on the other side of town
Mhm.
a new business manager at the schools. So you're going to need to have a strong accounting department here to make sure the things run right.
So this position, the town accountant and the treasurer collector, the additional funds being covered by the enterprise fund, how does that work? Like, that can be done that way?
With an enterprise account, you can charge salaries of estimated work done by staff and all of the fringe benefits, all of the expenses, for example, insurances, health insurance, pension, P&C insurance on buildings.
So because they're.
It's an
because they're
indirect
handling-
cost or an offset.
Right, so because they're handling some of those.
They're handling a
roles,
lot.
duties for the department.
Yeah, you look at
Okay.
for example, the golf course, every day, the treasurer collector's office gets an cash bag with all the receipts and everything from the golf course. And it goes through the treasurer collector's office, and then it goes up to the accounting
Right.
office. You have all of the sewer and water bills that come in a process. You have all the purchasing that's processed through the accounting office.
So is this?
It's my understanding years ago that one of my predecessors was trying to charge a number of other things to the enterprise accounts. Well, philosophically, I do not believe that, for example, the town administrator's office should be charged a portion of it, even though technically I oversee it. It shouldn't, and administer it, it shouldn't, my office shouldn't be paid for by the enterprise accounts. You hire a town administrator to take care of the whole town, and you fund it appropriately. But the finance offices really spend, and it's almost, you can quantitatively analyze it, a certain part of their day by day, on the enterprise and reserve accounts, processing all of that.
That makes sense. So is this the first time this is being allocated this way?
It's the first time I'm putting it on the spreadsheets that way, but you have had, for example, fire with the ambulance has picked up the assistant accountant, part of the assistant accountant. You have had the treasurer collector picked up by golf. But when I started to fill in on some duties and started to look at what the two finance offices were doing for the enterprise accounts, I realized that not only is it an opportunity to actually show how much they do for the enterprise accounts, but it's also an opportunity to, in effect, you've got an enterprise account is supposed to be almost run like a separate business. And so, yes, those departments are almost like consultants to those separate businesses.
Now, is the committee for that particular enterprise fund, do they have to sign off on this?
No, it'll be part of their budget, it'll reflect it in their budget. That's why we spent so much with the treasurer collector in you getting a new budget right before this meeting, was because we were trying to make sure we did everything right in figuring out the duties and figuring out who does what. And I did not do it for the treasurer collector, assistant treasurer collector, because that's one of my philosophical things. If in the future someone wants to propose it, they can propose it, but I think that since the prime duty for the assistant treasurer collector is payroll, it does it for both the school and the town. That's one major function. You're not going to start to divide it among all. And I've seen attempts between the school and the town to start to divide up health insurance, pensions, payroll, as far as who does what, and it just gets to be a quicksand swamp to try to figure out, and I think Kristen would back me up on that. That you don't want to get in there. You start arguing over dollars, literally. And it just doesn't work.
Well, and this almost, and it truly has it, by doing this, it's truly an enterprise fund, where it's not coming out of taxation, because they're funding some of this stuff that, would traditionally be covered by the town.
And last year you saw it was 89,000 and change we did for some of the fringe benefits and everything. We done a lot deeper dive this year, and it's going to be more money coming out of the not a lot different, but it's going to reflect actual insurance costs, actual health insurance costs, Medicare costs, pension costs.
I think it's an important issue because it comes up every year, especially for people that are new to the town and who might be watching this and, well, what's an enterprise fund? Well, it's what it is. It's, they, like our golf course is fully funded. They're self-funded. Their user fees essentially cover just about all of their costs for the most part. I mean, you can, if you want to really nitpick, which does happen, and we've seen it happen over the years, but in essence, there's barely anything that comes out of taxation to cover the enterprise fund. And they've been operating like this for years.
In a previous community I was in, we operated the ambulance service as an enterprise account, but because of the how much work the ambulances did and how much reimbursement from the government did not match the cost of the services, that after a number of years of having to actually go to the general fund to supplement the enterprise account of the ambulances, DOR stepped in and told us we could not operate it as an enterprise account anymore, and we had to operate it as a reserve account. And so you have two accounts here that operate as enterprise accounts that we are in this exercise proving that they are paying their way.
Well, and when the golf course is paid off in a few short years, it's going to be even a bigger asset for the town.
Well, it's an asset now.
Well, it is.
And it is probably one of your major attractions in town. Because
Really the only attraction, I mean, it's,
I wasn't going to say that.
Well, I think it'll potentially become a bigger attraction down the road.
Are there any questions?
Mm-mm.
not that there's answers to.
Hmm?
Not that there's answers to.
I hope we can, as I go out the door, I can assist in hiring an accountant. And if anybody knows a municipal accountant who would love to relocate to the South Coast, please call them. It's a good job, and it's a growing area. We have the trades now. We've got two more accounts, technology and cable, and dancing a little bit to hope Nick walks through the door shortly. I don't know if you want to take a 5-minute break.
Make a motion to recess.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're back on. Do I have a motion to reopen our finance committee meeting?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are back
Mr.
open.
Chairman, the technology and the CATV budgets are before you right now. I might be able to explain some of the budgetary aspects, but I cannot explain the technology aspects
Okay.
of it. So, thank God someone just walked through the door who can.
Welcome, Nick. Good to see you
Long time
again.
no see.
Nice to see everyone. Thank you. So to recap, to start with salaries, so there was just the contractual salary increase there, but we are going to appropriate a percentage to cable since we do a good amount on the cable side as well. So by appropriating, maybe we did like a 60-40 split there. That kind of helps save some money, but realistically that's just going to help reduce the expenditures increases for like contractual and all the subscription increases. So to get to the expense side now, the really only big increases are the permitting software went up 2,600, the assessing near map software went up 770, and then the website also, because they switched who I guess they use for their back end of building the websites, changed. There's a $3,500 increase there, so that brings that up to around, I think, a little over 7,000 now a year. And then the other thing would be the alarm systems. So right now that was in town building. So because, again, somewhat technology related, so we are going to pull that over to IT, and that covers town hall, parting ways, the COA, and the 2 historical buildings. So all in all, the increase would have been $12,370, but with shifting some of the salaries, it's really only $7,700. So.
And we are looking to bring content manager in into the Munis package. You'll see part of the cost of bringing in the technology part of the free cash article, and then the license
Yeah, we
is
can.
here.
Yeah, so we were gonna use free cash for the one-time implementation and installing fee, and then the rest would be just about, I think, it was $5,414 for content manager. But also at the time of building the budget last year versus now, we were able to drop off another module that the town wasn't using, but we're paying for. So it really did offset there to actually just still give us savings on the Munis side too.
What's
And-
content
and-
management for?
What is content
Explain what
manager?
content
Yeah, what is-
manager does.
Content manager is really cool. So if you go into look at like a bill or like whatever you charge in Munis, you can actually click on the paperclip and it'll pull up a PDF after you scan it, of course. But it basically, you can attach all PDFs to any like invoice or anything that's in the system. You can do it for W-9s. You can do it for everything.
So it just incorporates it as part of the database.
Yeah.
And it makes the need for multiple copies of invoices in different places and everything go away.
Less
Yeah,
paper?
If it goes well, you'll see a decrease to the copy machines next year.
Yeah, and for what has to be brought in as far as just space and files. And it can it can follow the trail office to office once it's been put in.
Is this something you're doing, or
The
they're going to have somebody come in and add it?
No, like Tyler Technologies, which is the company that runs Munis, they have like an implementation team, so that's like, they have to do
This
it.
is, so this increase is part of that cost.
That'll
That would
be,
be-
that'll be the free cash part.
Yeah, the one-time cost to implement it.
Tyler doesn't do any, Tyler doesn't look
They're
at
not
you
going
for free.
Yeah.
And it's, everybody's really excited about it because you could have instead of having multiple copies of an invoice and having people in different offices all conversing about it, they all can go on this into Munis, look at it, and you can be questioning payments or asking why somebody did something, asking why is it in this account when it really shouldn't be.
And it's real time too, because I remember the Board of Selectmen were mentioning yesterday that they would be able to just select something and it's like to the minute, I guess. Okay.
Yes, so, I guess, discuss cable. The only really change on this is just gonna be then the offset from the IT salaries, but in talking with Jamie, I know we wanna keep that $100,000 line, so we kinda just broke it up a little differently, but still leaving some in the main salary line in case there's ever any changes or anything like that.
Also, the opportunity to use the system, and you might need someone there to help you if you wanted to use it in other ways for communicating with the public
Mm-hmm.
in the future, is to, we're not increasing the line, we're just leaving the opportunity for you to use it in multiple ways. The fact you have a studio in the school, you
I was
don't.
just gonna mention that,
So
because,
to that point,
yeah,
I've been sitting here thinking about cable TV, right? You know, and how we're struggling to make revenue. Do we have any idea like how many people watch the local cable TV channel? Is
We
there any
don't
way
get
to,
any analytics on
there's no way to
cable.
track to find that out? Because I was just thinking of, you know how we advertise like the meetings that come up, right?
Mhm.
Let's say somebody wanted to advertise their local business. You know,
I don't know if
So-
that's
I don't think they
allowed.
can.
can they do that?
I don't know if that's allowed.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
No.
They give us those.
It's like it's like NPR, I think. a
Yeah, it's
little
public
bit.
access channels, I don't think you can.
But
Well, I wouldn't want
But-
anything like NPR, but
in other towns, there have been a vibrant production
Yeah.
arm that uses it on local matters for, like, talk shows,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've seen that.
to folks that instructional shows like cooking shows I've had on, restaurant reviews on local restaurants where they focus on the local restaurants. It might not be an advertisement, but it's a backdoor way of saying this is what we've got in town and these are the dishes that they specialize in. You could do it on the golf,
Like the guy that does the golf, Isaac. He could do like a little
They could have a
a
lesson.
demonstration or something. Yeah.
But I'm just thinking, I'm trying to think of like, is there a way that we could produce
Generate
revenue,
revenue.
generate
it's,
revenue?
Well,
CATV's here because you allow the cable company access to the
the lines.
sky,
Yeah.
the sky
Yeah, so on your
over the
cable,
town.
on your cable bill, that the franchise fee, that basically is the revenue that goes to the town. So all of cable's just, it's funded through users from Comcast. So that's how that kind of generates money. So the whole cutting the cord thing actually becomes counterproductive because you don't get hit with the franchise fee if you're not buying cable.
Mhm.
So people that are just doing internet takes away the franchise fee from the town. So it's kind of like a, be careful with it. You know, if you don't want to, you don't want to
know
overcommit on
down the
something.
road if it's gonna,
Yeah.
what, 20 years from now, if it's gonna be there the way technology's going. Smart TVs, Roku, etc.
I cut the
You
cable.
might not be on cable.
Yeah, because I mean, right now, nobody utilizes our local cable channel for like, because I think years ago, somebody had like a talk show or
Wake Up
something,
Acushnet.
right?
Yes, I think it was Wake Up Acushnet
Yeah,
Yep.
and
with Mr. Madruga.
But-
yes, yeah, wasn't it his son that, somebody took it over?
Yeah, like you and I do that.
We could have like a little podcast going, right?
I had,
Morning Joe
in
was
Millbury,
like
in Millbury, we had probably 20 shows produced a
Yeah.
month. That by,
I remember growing up in
various-
Lowell, it was the same thing. They have a whole bunch of different programming, but they had like 4 or 5 channels too. This is the city, so they had a
And
bunch.
people can just stream on social media for free.
Yeah.
They're not, no one's watching it anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric? It should be like a political shtick or what?
I got a tire I could wear.
Anyway,
All right, we got off on a tangent as usual.
It's running late, that's
That's
why.
right.
yeah,
True.
past our bedtime.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Nick?
No.
Thank you.
Nick, thanks for coming in.
No problem.
Good
Thank
seeing you.
You too.
Yeah, thanks for flying down. Appreciate it.
No problem.
I'm going to look at the list that we've done and the list that we haven't done, and probably tomorrow or Friday at the latest send what I think can be done without having the selectmen actually give me input on a number. We haven't sat down on any budgets with the selectmen.
Really?
We've sat down on, as far as revenue goes, we've sat down a couple times as far as the school budgets go, but the school budgets are still $1,100,000 of increase. And they haven't moved.
Well, so a lot of these smaller budgets aren't gonna put a dent into the current deficit we have.
We can't afford that.
So,
Right now, we're, if meals tax comes in where I think it will, then we're at, instead of 500,000, 600,000. I know Sue's not here, but she'd be happy to hear that. But until I see the final on the excise and the governor's figures get erased and the House figures come in, which I'm not expecting more than a $50,000 increase. How about you, Kristen? Do you think it'll be more than that?
Might get a little bit on chapter 70, maybe,
Yeah.
if they increase it from per pupil, but that's negligible.
So, we're looking at between 600 and maybe 700,000 increase in revenue, shaking and baking everything. And
what about
the
What's the
Acushnet school system eats that, and we're at a deficit without even looking at OC.
So I guess nothing else gets funded, that's all, right? Can't fund anything else.
Well, it actually means that a number of budgets you people haven't seen yet are the budgets that we've actually taken and removed positions from, other than water and sewer, which you heard about tonight, that there's one there, because we're waiting to see if anybody else is willing to remove positions.
I mean, we gotta do police, fire, and EMS. I mean, those are three critical departments in this town.
You've also got the selectman's office and a number of accounts under the selectman, and you've got some other accounts. And you've got the joint accounts, which are the fixed costs. And we do know that health insurance will be 9.9, which in any other year I'd say, oh my God, but in this year I say, thank God.
Just round it up to 10.
Huh?
Just round it up to 10.
But you're seeing.
It's at 0.9. It's like the gas station.
Yeah, but you're seeing an awful lot of towns right now that are 19.9, 18.5.
I don't see how any of those three departments that I just mentioned, police, fire, and EMS, can take a hit in manpower. It's gonna put our public safety at risk.
Are they looking for cruisers again?
Oh, God, sure they are. They didn't get any.
They didn't get any last year, but that's got to, even though philosophically, I don't like to take it out of free cash for cruises. I think they should be in the operating budget.
Yeah.
Well, this year you've got to.
Well, I was going to say, we can't do it 2 years in a row.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's got to come out of free cash.
Well, we're gonna have some difficult conversations with some departments coming up. So you're gonna send me a list of some of the easy things we can go through next week.
And
So we have,
I will be willing to, because IAC is meeting Monday on what the health insurance will be. So, and that's the union reps get to meet. Management doesn't meet. It is not part of the IAC. And then we can brief this committee and other folks in town on what the health insurance will look like, what the P&C workers' comp. We're going to have an increase in workers' comp just because of the claims that have come in. But I think we can offset it in some other savings.
all right, we're gonna cover our next meeting in a minute here. Does anybody have any old business to bring up?
I also will bring that transfer on the police, the training for the police department in the software, so they can use the
I
software.
can't figure we do that tonight because it got approved yesterday, right?
With the selectmen,
Yeah.
but it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh.
So I've got to bring that in on,
Next week.
yeah, because we've been paying for it for a number of years and never used it.
All right, so there's no old business. Anyone have new business to discuss, Eric?
Yeah, I just want to bring up, I mentioned the fact that my wife running for school committee. I did submit a letter to the Ethics Commission, and I did get a response back. It's kind of detailed, but short version in the letter, the attorney stated that there's no restrictions for me to be on the Finance Committee with her serving on the school committee, and it gives an explanation if anyone wants to read it. I gave a copy of this to the town clerk's office, and Pam says that one copy needs to be presented here and entered into the record. And Mr. Kelly, if I could give you another copy that you could present to the selectmen, because they are our appointing authority and they need to be aware of this. Is what
You
she
need
told
it
me.
before the election, so it should be, or after the election.
Well, she's uncontested, so I mean, it's however you.
because they're meeting on the 15th with the school, on the school budget. The FinCom has been, the board has asked that the FinCom be there. It will be at the COA, but we could put it on the agenda for that night, or we could wait to the 29th. I think it's probably more appropriate on the 29th.
That's fine, that's fine. But anyway, so
Okay.
I just want to present, to everybody.
All right, I'm gonna get back to future meetings here in a second. So next up is, we have some minutes to approve from January 22nd, 2025. In attendance was myself, Sue Delgado, Pete Benoit, Eric Chu, Kristen Flynn, Eric McGlynn, and Bob St. Jean.
Take a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Next meeting is next week, so we're gonna go over whatever.
I'll bring the insurances in and whatever else. I'll send to Kathy the list like I did with
Mhm.
this one.
And then the following week, like Mr. Kelly just said, on Tuesday, April 15th, at 4:30, is the meeting at 4:30 at the Council on Aging?
It's either 4 or 4:30.
4 or 4:30. So the Board of Selectmen's meeting with the school. I don't know if we all have to be there as an entire committee. I mean, I'm
If,
planning on.
I'll be there.
if it would be safe if we posted it.
So I have down on my calendar the 16th, on that Wednesday, that we were having a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah,
and the
but
school.
that's on the articles. On, that's their public HVAC.
That's the debt exclusion, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
So
gotcha.
we have 2 meetings that week.
Yeah.
With the school.
I'll go around, I can go too.
I'll be there.
All right, so we just have
I'll be
to,
there until probably 6 if it goes, I have to leave to go to a meeting at my work for 6:30, so I can be there until 6.
okay. So we just have to figure out, is it at 4 or 4:30, just so we can,
I'll have Sydney get in touch
Okay.
with you.
and then Kathy will post that. So we'll end up having basically 2 meetings that week, the 15th and the 16th.
Tax,
Busy week.
Well, it's safe to post them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay, I think that covers everything for tonight.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
Good night.